The birthday party was a blur of balloons, bright laughter, and tissue paper rustling like waves. We were in the backyard of my sister-in-law's house, one of those well-kept suburban places with polished garden stones and a handmade welcome sign at the gate. All of our nieces and nephews were there, buzzing like bees, high on sugar and excitement. Every child had a grin. Every adult held a drink or a camera. And my daughter, Emily, stood quietly by the gift table, trying not to look disappointed. It was her cousin Jacob's 6th birthday. There was cake, a magician, even a bouncy castle. And as expected, toward the end of the party, they handed out return gifts, little bags stuffed with toys and candy for each child. Except Emily didn't get one. I watched her stand there, hands clasped in front of her favorite yellow dress, while every other kid tore open their bag. Her eyes darted, her smile frozen, her small fingers twitching at her side. She didn't cry. She just watched. Maybe they ran out, my husband, Drew, said beside me, but I could hear the edge in his voice. The strain. She's the only one without a bag, I replied quiet. They didn't forget. They excluded her. He said nothing. We stood there in silence, the kind that buzzes like static. Then Drew cleared his throat and said, "I'll be right back." I thought he was going to talk to his sister, or at least grab a bag from the house. Instead, he walked to his car. He opened the passenger door, rummaged through something, and came back with an envelope. White. Sealed. He knelt in front of Emily and smiled. "Sweetheart," he said, "Daddy has something special just for you." Her face lit up. Instantly. She reached for it with both hands, like it was magic. I smiled too, until I noticed something strange in Drew's eyes. A flicker of guilt. A shadow. I didn't understand. Not then. The party wound down. Kids left with frosting on their sleeves and balloons tied to their wrists. I kept turning the envelope over in my hands. It felt heavier than paper should. Like something was inside. Emily had placed it in my bag after Drew told her, "Let Mommy keep it safe." We got home. Emily fell asleep early. And when the house was quiet, I pulled out the envelope and opened it. It wasn't a gift card. It wasn't money. It was a letter. My heart skipped the moment I saw the handwriting. It wasn't Drew's. It was a woman's, curved, deliberate, and signed at the bottom in looping blue ink, "Melanie." The words blurred as I scanned them. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I never meant for it to go this far. But Emily deserves the truth. She deserves to know who her real father is." I froze. My lungs collapsed inward. The envelope slipped from my fingers. There were photos, too, of Drew with her, holding hands, laughing. A hotel room selfie. Another of him cradling a baby that wasn't ours. I wanted to scream. Instead, I sat there staring at a truth I hadn't even suspected. Drew had cheated. But worse, he had a second child. A baby he'd kept hidden for over a year. And this envelope, this gift for Emily, was Melanie's cruel way of forcing him to confess. Or maybe it was a plea, to step up, to choose her and their baby over us. And suddenly the pieces fell into place. Why Emily didn't get a return gift. Why his sister looked at her with tight lips and cold eyes. Why there was always some excuse, late nights at work, solo weekends for photography trips. They all knew. His family. His sister. Maybe even his parents. They knew Emily wasn't his. Biologically at least. But she was his. She called him Daddy. She waited by the door every day when he came home. She cried when he traveled. She drew pictures of their hands holding hearts. I confronted him that night. He didn't deny it. He didn't cry or beg or offer some dramatic apology. He just sat down on the edge of the bed, hands clasped, staring at the floor. "I didn't plan to," he said. "That doesn't matter. I didn't want to hurt anyone." I laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. "You fathered another child. You lied for a year. You used our daughter as a pawn today. And you gave her this." I waved the envelope, as her consolation prize for being ignored. She deserved to know. She deserved love, not to be caught in your guilt parade. He rubbed his face. "I'm sorry. But sorry didn't undo anything. Not the lies. Not the humiliation. Not the look on Emily's face when she realized she was the only one without a gift. in a family that suddenly treated her like a stranger. I asked him to leave. He packed quietly, took only what he needed, kissed Emily's forehead while she slept, and walked out. The weeks after were quiet and cruel. Emily asked questions I couldn't answer. She wanted to know why Daddy wasn't home for dinner, why he didn't read her bedtime stories anymore, why he missed her dance recital. I shielded her from the truth, at least for now, because someday she'd learn it. Not from a bitter letter, not from a cold party, but from me. From someone who never stopped loving her. And Drew? He visits. Sometimes. But he never brings her to family events anymore. Maybe because he knows. Maybe because he's ashamed. Or maybe because Melanie made it clear, one family at a time. I still have the envelope. I keep it in a drawer, sealed again, in case Emily wants to read it someday. But not now. Not while she's still drawing stick figures of the three of us holding hands, smiling. Not while there's still time to protect the pieces of her heart that haven't cracked. And as for me, I'm learning. Healing. Building something solid, not based on lies. I don't know where we'll end up, but I know this. My daughter may have been left out once, but she will never be unloved. Not as long as I breathe. Let me know if you'd like a YouTube script, thumbnail text, or sequel for this story.